Mikel Merino to Arsenal. There we land. Very exciting, guys. We finally got him. It has been rumoured for weeks now. I mean, during the tournament, during the Euros, there were links. And of course, we all knew that nothing would get done until the Euros was finished, or at least until Spain were knocked out. And of course, they eventually won the tournament, beating the most incredible in-form England side we've ever seen. But it's done now, guys. In this video, we're going to go into the details of this transfer, but most importantly, just my thoughts on how he's going to integrate into the team, what Mikel, the manager, is going to do with Mikel, the player, and also, what does this mean in terms of players going? Because to fund this move, it's been very widely reported that we need to sell to make this one happen. And I don't know how I feel about this, because there are so many reports that we've got money. It's not like we have to sell to buy, but I think there's a long-term plan in place at the club, and to invest in midfield, they've always had the idea that they would sell first, because I don't think this is a priority position, if that makes sense. I reckon if there was the perfect signing to put in as a striker or backup to Saka, they would make the funds available. I truly believe that. And I think, one thing for sure over the years, especially since Mikel Arteta joined, is that Arsenal are very cautious, and they don't just spend money for the sake of it. They really want to target the correct players, and they might be the best player for that position, but if they don't have the personality, or if they don't seem to fit in with off the pitch things, then they just simply won't do the deal. So let's talk about Merino. First of all, Big Orny over on Twitter. Look, Fabrizio Romano, fantastic. Everyone loves, well, most people love him. Okay, but my favourite football journalist, breaking news announcer, has always been Orny. I love David Ornstein. Follow his Twitter. He doesn't tweet for the sake of it. If he tweets, it's big, put it that way. So he has said that we've stroked an agreement, in principle with Real Sociedad to sign Mikel Merino. 33.5 million euros up front, or, as a chunk. I'm guessing we'll be doing that over 2 or 3 years. It wouldn't surprise me if it's, 11.2 million per season, roughly, something like that. There is also 5 million of add-ons. Probably performance related and trophy related. If we win the Premier League, maybe they get 2.5 million. If he plays a certain amount of games for Spain or gets an amount of assists, who knows? But it's going to be roughly 33.5 plus the 5. I'm sure they're going to be easily achievable add-ons. Personal terms done for the 28-year-old to sign on a 4-year contract with an option of a 5th. Now, Merino is a left-footed central midfielder. He has played in the Premier League before, actually. We've got an image here of him against a very, well, for me, one that's close to my heart, Jack Wilshere. I can't really call him a club legend because of all the injuries, and of course didn't really win enough here, but club legend, Jack Wilshere. And this is where Merino was at Newcastle. This guy's been around. He's played for a lot of clubs. I believe, was he at one point in the Bundesliga with Dortmund? Or am I thinking of someone else? But most recently, Real Sociedad partnered him up in midfield with actually Martin Ødegaard. We're missing one piece now. Isaac. Get me Isaac. But the beauty of this deal is we're signing, for the first time in a while, a 28-year-old. That's rare for Arsenal these days. We're going with someone that's in his prime. Central midfield, box to box, a mixture of a number 10 and a number 6 as well. He can play pretty much anywhere in midfield. I see him predominantly in that left side of our midfield 3, whether that's Partey or Rice in the middle and then Ødegaard on the right. But we'll go through that in a moment. He's in his prime. He is at the very top of his game and will be for the next few years. For the majority of this 4, potentially 5-year stay at Arsenal, he will be at the very top of his game. This isn't investing, let's just call it 40 million, just as it's easy. We're not investing 40 million euros into a player that has promise. This is a player that has played at the top level for a while now. Not the very, very, very top. We're not signing a Madrid player in his prime or a Barcelona or Bayern player, whatever. a Real Sociedad player that has done very well for Spain as well, getting into that Euros winning side for every single match in the Euros. I believe he got minutes in every single game. He's a top level player. But the biggest thing for me is the profile. The fact that we've gone for a 6'2", beefy, physical, duel-winning monster. It's so obvious what Arteta is building here. Look at the last few signings. Look at Calafiori, for example, as well. 6'2" again. I think Calafiori is 6'2". Just very physical, and they just win their duels. And very famously in the Arsenal Amazon video special, whatever you want to call that, the series, Arteta was fuming when his team weren't winning duels. You have to win the duels. And it seems that every position we're just building beasts, just a hugely physical team. So where would I put him? I think, well, first of all, why have we got Zinchenko in there? Let's just put Calafiori in. So for me, Partey would probably be dropped, and I'd have Rice play in my opinion, his best position since he broke onto the scene at West Ham, the defensive midfield, the number 6 role, the position he plays for England. That, for me, whilst he's perfectly capable of playing in this left-sided role where he has been, I would put him in the middle, and this is where I would put MERINO. I'm hoping I can just... Yeah, there you go. Oh, look at that. He fits in perfectly. I think this is the plan. I think Calafiori will end up being a left-back. He'll be taking over the Zinchenko role once he's fully integrated into the team and all the tactics and stuff like that. But MERINO is going to occupy this left centre midfield role. And I think what this will allow is Ødegaard to step into his favourite position on the pitch, that pocket on the right side behind Havertz, basically a number 10 role, but to the right side. And then Rice and MERINO can then drift in, occupy the space behind Ødegaard. And obviously we can pivot. It's basically watching a midfield 3. Why am I holding up 4? The middle 2 fingers here is one player. They basically just do this all the time. They rotate. It's very fluid. And of course, Ben White can push forward. Calafiori could tuck in, vice versa. It's such a modular, fluid system. And whether or not we're going to sign a forward player, I don't know. Part of me still thinks we've got a massive, massive issue on this right side. Fabio Vieira stepping in as a right winger is okay for a game or two, but it's definitely not the answer for Saka being injured or suspended or whatever. Imagine if Saka was in some sort of betting scandal and he was out for 6 months, These things do happen. I don't think it would happen with Saka because he's an outstanding citizen, right? He's a straight A's student as well, but if for whatever reason Saka's not fit, we do need someone there. I guess, in the past, Havertz could occupy the right side, but that's not ideal either. Trossard could move over there. Martinelli could move over there. Nelson, of course. But realistically speaking, I think we're one signing away from really, really being at our best. And I think that would be a Saka backup / attacking striker option. I'm seeing so many names linked. I'm not even going to go into them until I see it tweeted by Orny or Fab. Not interested. So let's talk about how this is going to affect the squad. We will obviously be selling some players. Ramsdale is linked with a loan move away. It does seem like Southampton or Wolves are the likely destination, and it would potentially have an option to buy. I personally don't like the option to buy stuff. It's risky if a player has a bad season. Let's say Ramsdale does well for a few games, and then they realise, he's not actually what we're looking for. We've lost the player for the whole year because we probably wouldn't recall him. Okay, sure, the wages would be mostly paid. I'm guessing it'd be 80-90% of his wages would be covered, but then they'll just hand him back. And I kind of want mandatory buy fees put in these loans. And I get it. It's for FFP. It's, for a club like Wolves or Southampton, investing 30 odd million into Ramsdale is a huge thing. And maybe they would like to wait until next season when they've got some more funds in. Who knows? But Ramsdale will definitely be on his way out. And we've already got a replacement, a young Spanish goalkeeper, which I'll talk about maybe in a different video. The other option, of course, is to sell other players permanently. One deal that looks like it is done is Patino. going to Deportivo La Coruña. Out of nowhere for £1 million. This guy is worth so much more than £1 million, and I was sure a couple of seasons ago when he was starting to break out and we saw him get loaned out, I thought, oh, he could be the next Granit Xhaka, you know, the kind of left-footed magician in midfield. Clearly not the case. I guess the club don't rate him highly enough. Maybe off the pitch there are some issues there. I really honestly believe that talent-wise, he's one of the best players to come through the ranks recently. But like I said at the start of this video, Arsenal don't keep or buy players that aren't invested mentally in the club, that don't want to be there. If you're there for money, if you're there for fame, or you're there just because your wife wants to live in London or whatever, you're going to be gone. You're not coming because you've got to be there to win with Arsenal. You got to want to win trophies, and you've got to want to play for Arteta and represent this badge. By the way, the new kits this season are fire. I love the cannon. But Patino going for £1 million, of course, isn't going to dent the Merino purchase. However, the biggest one, of course, we still have Eddie Nketiah on the books. The move that looked dead certain to happen to Marseille broke down. It was Marseille, wasn't it? Not Lyon. Marseille went with Wahi, right? So I think it was a couple of million more and you're getting a much better player. I'm sorry, Nketiah is just not at a very high level, in my opinion. So that fell through, and you hear rumours that Crystal Palace are looking. I don't know. Nottingham Forest, it does seem like they really do want to invest in a striker. They're trying to get Santiago Jimenez as well from Feyenoord, and I don't think they'll get him for cheaper than Eddie Nketiah, which is to be expected. I think Jimenez is a very good young Mexican player, but Nketiah could be going, and it's going to be the high 20s, low 30s millions. So you could almost see Nketiah, Patino, and Ramsdale leaving. Although we won't get a huge fee for Ramsdale, we might get like a couple of million as a loan fee. That will then cover the incoming Merino, and we're all square with FFP. But the thing is, we're losing Patino, who's a future midfielder. We're losing Nketiah, who is a backup striker, and Ramsdale, who is, let's face it, one of the best number 2 goalkeepers in the world, if not the best number 2 goalkeeper in the world. So is it worthwhile? I think it is. I really do think it is. What we mentioned before here, this team here is a title-winning team, and I truly believe that. Once Calafiori fits in, I don't see him moving out of that team. I think he's going to be absolutely incredible down that left side. Raya is, of course, a permanent player now, so definitely solid goalkeeper. White, Saliba, Gabriel, untouchable. Ødegaard, Rice, Merino, Martinelli, Havertz, Saka. The thing about Havertz as well, people still saying we need a striker. You know, since the turn of the year, I believe he's played 15 games up front. We've won 14 and drawn 1, and he's got 18 goal contributions or something like that. A stat very similar to that. He has been incredible. He is, I think, good enough to be our number 9 this season, and he's only going to get better as well. He's only been here for a year, so I expect him to have another very strong season. And by the way, shout out to FOTMob for adding in a lineup builder. Very nice. But it is done, guys. Merino is an Arsenal player. Before we end, look what I've got here. We have the other kits. I was going to kind of do a review with the kit reviews I've done of the Premier League home kits, but I didn't get them in time. But here is the away kit. Oh, my green screen is getting it's cutting it out a little bit, and there's the away kit, third kit, away kit, third kit. So I have all 3 kits. Let me know if you'd like me to talk about them in a video and show them properly, but I guess most people don't care. Thank you for watching, guys. And as I said, Merino joining Arsenal gives us a lot of strength, and we can rotate the midfield even more now. It strengthens us. It's a very, very good signing. So welcome to the club, Mikel.